How hilarious, in a way, a radio station. Fantastic. They think they've invented it.
You would have thought so, and I love the fact that they said it was 24/7, and I think Radio 1 went 24/7 in about 1991.
But nonetheless, they are a massive, massive, commercially acutely able company, and they are going to crush you, aren't they?
They're not going to crush us, because I think this is a good thing for the radio industry. Apple, as we know, is a huge global company with an awful lot of assets. They've changed the way we live our lives with smartphones and iPads, etc. And then they decided that they wanted to enter into the music streaming service. And what did they decide to do? They decided to open a radio station. So that's brilliant for the radio industry, because, as you know and I know, why we get up in the morning is because we love radio. Radio has some unique characteristics that a streaming service can't actually provide. And so radio is actually the best thing that Apple could have done.
Yeah, but they're going to take your people. That's the point, isn't it? They're going to take your audience. Already are.
Well, they're going to take my people in terms of a presenter and also some of my production staff, because the BBC, as we know, makes the best radio in the world, whether that be speech radio on Radio 4 or music radio at Radio 1. And so, I'm not scared about that, because we've got a good second 11 that can move up the ranks. And you've got to look at this in terms of...
So hang on a second. You've got an audience who are out there who don't care, frankly, where the music is coming from, do they? Don't even know, actually, in many cases. And you're saying you can come to our second 11, or Apple are saying, we've already got your credit card details. Come on, have a look at this. You've got your mum and dad's credit card details. Actually, come and have a look at this or listen to this. And actually, that is going to be what reduces, to put it mildly, the appeal of Radio 1.
No, because Radio 1 has great presenters. We have nearly 50 years of heritage.
Second 11, you've just called them that.
No, in terms of the second 11 of the staff moving up. So I've got a very talented second 11, thank you very much. I think when it comes to the presenters, we've got new presenters that have come through that are brilliant, like Annie Mac or Clara Amfo. So I'm not worried at all about Apple, because the thing that Radio 1 can do that I'm not sure Apple is going to be able to do, as it broadcasts to 100 territories around the world, is do two things. One, break British music. Radio 1 breaks British music. Florence and the Machine, #1 album, just headlined the Pyramid Stage at Glastonbury, came through Radio 1's BBC Introducing programme.
And you're saying the commercial organisation, Apple, and there are others as well, Spotify, of course, have been doing this for some time as well, that they can't do that?
I don't believe they can, as well as Radio 1. And the second reason is because of the authenticity of the presenters that we have that can enthuse and make you excited about a band or make you excited about a piece of music.
But I mean, that point about the breaking new bands is terribly important, isn't it? Because what a lot of people listening will be thinking is, hang on a second, isn't this the moment as well that Radio 1 is floated off and becomes commercial? Because there's just no point in the licence payer paying for this, which is essentially the same kind of thing that other people are doing in other settings. Why don't you just go out there and you've got, as you say, a very good team. You know what you're about. You've got an awful big presence already online. Why don't you go out and fight your own corner in the commercial world and not rely on the licence fee?
Well, I'm very proud to be a member of the BBC, and I'm very proud that the BBC provides young people with a representation and a reflection on their culture in UK society without having to tell them what pizza to buy or what phone to have. And actually, what I think Radio 1 does is absolute basic Reithian values. It informs young people about new music, it educates them with our Newsbeat programmes and our documentaries and our social action programmes, and it entertains them with probably one of the most diverse set of presenters anywhere on the dial.
What do you think is going to happen? I mean, look ahead sort of 10 years or so. It's odd, isn't it? Because you're actually losing listeners, aren't you, as a radio station? Apple is hoping to go into this genre that they think they've invented, radio, and do well in it. But is it that there are going to be lots of stations catering to niches in music? How's it going to pan out?
Well, I think the future is a very interesting place because, as you know, I was brought up in a house where I listened to Radio 1 in my bedroom, came downstairs in the kitchen, and Brian Redhead was telling me about the world that we live in.
And John as well.
That's that far back.
I'm not going to get into that. That's between you two. But, you know, that was the state of affairs. The only bit of technology in my bedroom was a radio, whereas, of course, nowadays, anyone with teenagers or anyone with children will know, you know, I think it's something like 80% of all 15-year-olds in the UK have a smartphone. So the thing for radio radio with the new generations, and the thing that I think Radio 1 is leading the way in terms of innovation is going, we're a radio station. The radio station is the train that pulls the carriages, but there are times when young people will want to be on their phone, will want time on their iPad, and can they bump into Radio 1 on their phone and on their iPad by watching some videos that we've created or some content that we've created? Because that idea of tuning across a dial and bumping into Radio 1 is very alien.
I'm not a racist.
You're not a racist?
No, I'm not a racist.
Oh.
Nobody is a racist that is in the Klan.
Lying on the ground, what appears to be heavily sedated patients. Their rags and dirty bodies, evidence of the neglect the authorities try to hide. This is Guatemala's only state-run psychiatric facility.